Hi everyone, I just wanted to speak to you briefly as there's a lot of talk about schools reopening soon and we're certainly really excited about having you back in the building. But one of the things that has been mentioned is lateral flow testing, and some of you might have had a lateral flow test before, some of you may have no idea what is actually being asked or have any concept of what lateral flow testing is. So what I wanted to do was talk you through how at East Barnet School we're going to be operating the lateral flow testing, show you how the setup is and what you'll actually be asked to do. Now the first thing that I want to stress to you is that we will be using some volunteers as well as staff as part of the testing process. Every member of staff and every volunteer involved in the process has completed NHS training. So we've done online courses where we had to sit a little exam at the end and we've passed those to get our certificate. So everybody that you see involved in the process is trained and qualified to fulfil the role that they're going to be doing. The second point I want to make is that some people will be thinking, well, what if I don't want to have the test? Can I still come back to school? The testing is voluntary. You or your parents give consent. If you decide not to have the test, then you obviously can still be in school. Anybody in year 7 to 11, we're asking for parents to consent and that information will be sent out to you. Anybody in the sixth form, you're able to give consent yourself. Now what I would say is that we want to make the building as safe as possible for you on your return, and testing is a really good way of making sure that we're limiting the spread of the virus. So whilst it isn't compulsory, we do encourage you all to consent and be involved in the lateral flow test process. So I'm going to take you down to the sports hall and explain it in a little bit more detail down there. Here we are at the sports hall. When you are invited for your lateral flow test, it will be staggered and you'll have a time in which we want you to come into school. You'll come in through the doors down there and you'll walk down to one of the two doors. You'll either enter the sports hall from the first door there or the second door here, and what you will have is a registration card and some barcodes. So here's my registration card with one of the barcodes, all three are the same, stuck to the top. Now depending on who's filled out the consent form, this barcode will link to the email address that's going to receive the test result, so it's very important that we get that information right. So you'll come through and we have multiple bays set up, 4 on this side of the sports hall and 4 on the other side of the sports hall, and you'll be allocated to one of the bays. So we're going to use bay 1 for this example, and what will happen is you'll walk down to bay 1, you'll stop at the test processing area where you'll hand your registration card over with your 2 spare barcodes. The person working here will get one of the lateral flow devices, so this is what it looks like, and they'll take one of your barcodes, stick your sticker on the back so that they know that it corresponds to you, and put it on your registration card with your name, so everything all matches up, and that's their role, the start of their role. You'll then continue down to your bay. So within the bay, there are instructions for how to carry out the lateral flow test. Now these instructions are also going to be emailed out to your parents alongside the consent form, and they'll be available on the website. So you've got the opportunity to have a read through before you have to come in for the test, so you know exactly what it is you're doing. You've got a mirror so that you're able to check and find your tonsils and have a look at your nose so you know where those things are. And then on the desk here there's hand sanitizer, there's wipes, there's tissues, and there's also a sick bowl. We haven't had to use one of those yet, but they're there just in case. Over here on the table behind, we've got the swab sticks that you'll use to actually take the test. So what will happen once you're greeted, we'll check that you don't have any symptoms, because these tests are for people that are asymptomatic. If you are feeling unwell at all or have any symptoms associated with coronavirus, so that's a high temperature, a persistent cough, loss of taste and smell, then it's really important that you stay at home, you get yourself booked in for a test, and you remain at home until you get that test result. So someone will check, do you feel well? And you will say yes, and then you'll be directed to your bay. You come over, you take a tissue and you're going to blow your nose, and then you're going to pop the tissue in the bin and sanitise your hands so that you're completely ready to do the test. Your mask can be put down on the table, and then you will open up your test. So you can open it up at the top and pull the stick out. Now there will be some members of staff along here that are here to answer questions and make sure that you administer the test correctly, but they won't be doing it for you. You are the person that is going to administer the test. Now don't worry, I'm not going to demonstrate doing the test on camera to you, but what you will do is stand in front of the mirror, open wide and put the stick down to rub the sides of your throat, your tonsils, for 10 seconds. You then take the stick out, and that stick then goes up one nostril, and you turn the stick around 5 times, quite high up on the nose area, and then that's the testing done. Okay, so we'll now take our sample over to the processing bay. So there are vials here, and each of them are filled up with a special liquid. You're going to pop your test into there, and then that's you done. You'll then leave the sports hall through those doors there and go and wait in the auditorium for 30 minutes while the test processes, and you get your result. What happens here? How do we actually get the result? Well, the people that are based here will have full PPE on. I'm just going to put gloves on for now, because I'm just demonstrating. So the sample's in with the liquid, and what we do is we mix it around, pushing down on the bottom of the vial. And this is important because you may be asked to do the test at home, so it's important you know how to do this. You then squeeze off the excess liquid from the bottom, and that then goes in the bin and will be collected later on. Pop the lid on there. And then the lateral flow test, if you remember, that has the barcode that corresponds to my registration card. In this bottom section here, I'm just going to drop 3 drops from the vial, and then that's going to go in the bin as well, and the gloves will be removed. The testing processors will put new gloves on for every single test that they do. I'm now going to write the time that the test has been taken, 12:20. The time that the result's due, so that's in 30 minutes time, so that's 12:50. And then that will sit on a tray here for that half an hour to wait for the test to process, and then my result will come through. Now if you have a look here, we've got 2 letters, a T and a C. A line coming up at C, as you can see on my test here, shows a negative test result, 1 line. If you get a line at T and a line at C, so 2 lines, that would indicate a positive test result. Now although mine is fine at the moment, it's really important that I wait until 12:50 to get that result to make sure that the T line doesn't start to appear. If you did get just a T line, or you got a line, no line at all, sorry, then that would say that the test was void and invalid, and we'd have to redo it. But at the moment, my test is showing as a negative result. So we have been carrying out the lateral flow tests for students that have come in as part of the Key Worker programme. Some of them were a little bit anxious the first time they had to do the test, but now it's become really routine for them, and they're going to speak in a minute just to reassure you. I hope it's made things a little bit clearer about how the process will work, but please, if you do have any questions, it's absolutely fine. Get in contact with the school via the inquiries, and we'll make sure that we respond to them as quickly as possible. Have a look on the website, because the information about how the testing works, the consent forms will all be on there, and they'll also have been emailed out to you. So I really am looking forward to seeing you all back in school very soon. But until then, take care of yourselves and keep safe.
Before the COVID test, I was quite nervous, but afterwards I realised it wasn't too bad if the teachers supported me a lot better.
Before I took the lateral flow test, I was nervous, but with the support of the staff, I was able to do it. I am fine with them now.
When I was preparing to come to Key Work School, the lateral flow tests were beginning to stress me out. However, after speaking to my parents and members of staff, I felt very reassured about them. I am now more than confident with them, and I think you should be too.